All right, good morning, good evening, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, citizens of YouTube. This is Pastor Dowell. We need to go ahead and kind of like have this heart-to-heart discussion. And believe me, I realize that right now we have a medium of communication, an exchange of flow of information that's only really, truly one directional. I'm sending and you're receiving. But however, what I want to do is I want to do my part to hopefully stimulate thought, because we need stimulation in almost every aspect of our lives, especially to stimulate us to think about things otherwise that we would not normally think about. You see just as well as I do the construct of what's actually going on here in the United States of America. You see it clear. You see the erosion that we're dealing with concerning government. We're watching civil unrest take place almost every single state in the so-called union. We're watching the erosion of values and morality. We all can sense that there's something gravely wrong. We see the grandstanding and the political stage playing and the circus that is going on in the news media, keeping us distracted from the real issues of watching President Donald Trump and House Speaker or House Representative or Speaker of the House Nancy Pelosi and Chucky Schumacher and all them just literally going at it. The Democrats couldn't wait to get back in power and control. And the truth is, it really truly is looking like that President Donald Trump is doing whatever he can to try to negotiate this, to stop this government shutdown and get Americans back to work. And it looks like that Nancy Pelosi and her crew want to take excursions on the taxpayer dime and fly military hops and flights all over the world, thereby extending the government shutdown. So why am I here this morning? I'm here this morning because myself personally, I don't like seeing more laws, more regulations. I really truly don't. And while sitting here at the desk this morning, I've been thinking long, hard, and heavy. There's simply a lot of things that I just don't know, and I don't pretend. I do not pretend to act like that I'm a subject matter expert on everything. As a matter of fact, I'm usually pretty careful about the things that I speak on because I realize that I'm scrutinized very, very greatly. So whenever I adopt a position, it's taken me a long time to actually come to that particular decision and choice in life, because I've actually thought things through, and I thought things through very carefully, because whatever way that I think, whatever decisions and choices that I make, it directly affects a lot of people that are close to me, and it indirectly affects a lot of people that are not as close to me, but they trust what I'm saying and doing based on my lifestyle. There was a wise saying that somebody very wise a long time ago and said, no matter what people say about someone, no matter what charges someone may levy or the finger pointing that constantly goes on, one thing that holds true about every man and woman here on this face of planet Earth is you cannot argue with their fruit. In other words, there are a lot of things that are said, but pay attention to their lifestyle, because their lifestyle is the fruit of who they really truly are. And you have to be the ones to determine if you're going to eat off that tree. And you have to use discernment. I mean, extreme discernment to know what fruit is good, what fruit is bad. I can't tell you that. But this morning, I actually spent some time this morning because I'm actually thinking about, and I'm thinking very, very heavily about joining one of the Rifle or Gun Owners of America's Association. We have two major ones out there, the NRA, and then we have Gun Owners of America. Now, I'm leaning towards Gun Owners of America, and I've always leaned towards Gun Owners of America because I see just entirely too much compromise coming from the NRA, and they've always been like that. It's just that they're the largest. But the gun owners of America, in my own personal opinion, seem like they are the only no compromise organization out there. You know, the ATF, not consistent even with their own laws, or consistent with their own views, perspective, and point of view. In December, they introduced into legislation, or they introduced into so-called quote-unquote law, a bump stock gun ban. And of course the NRA jumped on the bandwagon with them, because every single time some Pratt maniac goes out here and uses a firearm to kill someone, you've got these anti-gun people that they use that, and they're thirsty for jumping on that particular situation in order to try to take away our guns from our hands. Now, you know, I've said it once, I've said it 1,000 times. You're not, even though they pass laws in this country, you're not going to get guns out of Americans' hands. There's just, number one, there's too many of them. And then number two, the people are too passionate about it, especially here in the South. And so they can do whatever they want, but if you want the next civil war on hand, that will be the shot across the bow that will literally do it. That will be what is called crossing the Rubicon. And once you cross the Rubicon, you cross that line, I'm telling you, it's going to be hell and high water in the United States of America. It's not going to look good, because people are just entirely too passionate about defending themselves. Because, I mean, just recently, y'all remember Hugo Chavez, right? President of Venezuela. He introduced some type of gun confiscation and stuff, and now the Venezuelans are reeling, just like the Australians did, and just like they did over in England. They're reeling because they allow their guns to be taken out of their hands, and you should see the country now. There's only two people that have them: the police and the criminals are running the asylum. I'm not going to say that Americans are going to really truly take pause and really truly think about what's going on in this country, because the way I see it, and you let me know if you agree or disagree, Americans are too self-centered, self-focused, and self-absorbed. They're too dumb, dormant, docile, demoralized, and demonized to actually give a damn about what's coming down the pike. They can only see what's in front of them, and everybody holds value to their opinion above facts. Of course, you've heard me say it once, I said it 1,000 times. We may all be entitled to our own opinion, but we're not entitled to our own facts. And then many of you that are still stuck in these population centers, you know just as well as I do, you can see that people are just flat out asleep, sleepwalking, totally oblivious to what's taking place in this country and what's going on in this world, because their little world, they believe if I ignore everything else out here in the world and I just concentrate on my own little circle right here, that nothing will be able to penetrate my little world. But as the old saying goes from another song from a long, long time ago, you've got another thing coming. So I'm personally seriously considering joining the Gun Owners of America, not because I know all the legalese of what's really truly going on, but they do. And over and over and over again, you know, if the politicians don't like Gun Owners of America, then I love it. If lawmakers would rather, they prefer the NRA over Gun Owners of America, I'll take Gun Owners of America. That's exactly what I'll take. But not only that, I'm even thinking about taking it a step further, because, you know, I know that we all don't want to get entangled with the affairs of this life and many, many things. And of course, many times we take that out of context. But there are people that are on the front lines that are a whole lot more intelligent than we are. And the truth is, they really, truly need our support. And our support comes in the forms of Federal Reserve notes. Not only that, there's I believe there's let me see if I can find it up here. Yeah, there's a Tennessee Firearms Association that I'm actually thinking about joining as well, because during this bump stock ban, they have actually supported the Gun Owners of America, and money talks in this country. And the one thing that the lobbyists and everybody don't want is they don't want people like you and I joining these organizations, putting our money where our mouth is, and then help funding them to be able to fight against what they're doing. Let's just go ahead and admit it, brothers and sisters, ladies and gentlemen, citizens of YouTube. Let's just go ahead and admit it. We have people up there that are so-called in these elected offices. I call them selected offices. Because they don't represent our perspectives and point of view. I mean, Marco Rubio, he just got finished running and getting a lot of support from people who actually in a lot of these gun organizations, and then he turns around and introduces legislation and bills against firearms itself. I mean, it's literally chaotic. It's crazy. And then in lieu of all of that, you got Gillette, you know, the stuff that people shave with. You got Gillette actually coming out against masculinity by saying that it's toxic. If it wasn't for masculinity, we wouldn't even be free as a country. That's just a fact. There are very few people, you know, we all are wired different, but there's very, very few people that would actually go to the fight. Of course, we see that Bill Clinton is not one, yet he became commander-in-chief. We also see that Donald Trump is not one, and yet he became commander-in-chief. And hey, whether you like it or not, I think the words of Jesse Ventura is just the truth. When it came time for a lot of these people who end up being commander-in-chief or who end up being politicians, when their number was called, and mind you, they jumped all over Muhammad Ali and called him everything in the world, but all of a sudden these privileged people have nothing levied against them at all, because the suppression of the facts by the mainstream news media, as well as other means, is stifling. It's simply amazing. But he termed these type of people as chicken hawks. They were chicken when it came time for them to actually serve when their number was called, because they received all type of deferments. But now all of a sudden they're old and they can't go to war, can't go to fight. Now all of a sudden they are very hawkish and they're very bullish about sending your sons and your daughters and mine. It ain't the rich people of the world that's sending their children over in the sand or in the jungles to fight for what they continually keep calling democracy. I personally rather fight for the republic rather than the democracy, but that's another video for another time. But we have all this in front of us, and mind you, I ain't got to worry about Gillette, because I wouldn't even buy nothing else from Gillette ever again. But you think about this. Trump is not the one, and this is painfully obvious. Trump is not the one who is actually putting wood to the fire to keep this government shutdown going. He's not the one. It's actually Nancy Pelosi along with the Democrats, because this anti-Trump rhetoric and hatred and stuff. I mean, the man won the election. Let him run the country the way that he sees fit, because he won the election. But I tell you, when they're playing with the minds of the American people, and Americans are something else. One minute the Democrats are not serving the American society and populace like they should, then they go vote Republican. Then they get pissed off at their Republicans, then they go back and vote Democrat. And it's just the same back and forth over and over and over again. And of course, we're getting ready, we should be, or some of you should be thinking about the chaos that is literally on the horizon. We don't have too much more longer. I mean, there are already signs of shock that people are just simply not receiving their food stamps. That's what we used to call in the old school, or their EBT cards, or their Section 8 government housing is going up in rent. But, you know, with this government shutdown, there's a lot of things going on. And when people can't eat, riots are coming. I mean, you think the yellow vest riots are doing something over in France, and they are doing a very good job at protesting. Those people know how to protest, no doubt about it. But we haven't seen anything yet when you see a lot of hungry Americans. And the truth is, there's not enough police to police the people. And then when there's no longer law that is governing us as people in this country, and the police has become corrupt, and there's no longer enough police to actually police all the chaos, then who is going to be your own personal legal and justice system? If I said it once, I said it 1,000 times. It's not a wise thing to be caught in these population centers, especially given the environment that we are in right now. It's almost like you can feel that the lighter is right there at the wick, getting ready to just fire it off. You could just, it's almost like you can feel it. Also, what else you can feel in the air is that it seems like that the air is ripe for a false flag in order to get this Hegelian dialectic in motion here in the country. Or what is that? That is, they create the problem, it prompts a reaction, and then the very people who created the problem, which prompted the reaction, they come up with the solution. Problem, reaction, solution. And I realize I'm probably speaking French or any other language to many people out there who have their head stuck in the sand and buried in their own life's entertainment. Then in lieu of all this, we got the Trump administration catching the FBI with their hand in the cookie jar. And can you imagine what type of world this is when you've got the Federal Bureau of Investigation actually undermining the President of the United States of America? With all this, what about you? What about you? You have life choices and decisions to make. And of course, my opinion is you should have made them a long, long time ago, but you better make them real, real fast right now, because things are not only going from bad to worse. They're getting to the point where there's the point of no return. Everything is based on your choice and your decision that you make in life. Even if you don't even make a choice or decision, even if you don't even make one, you've already made one, because the things are not going away. Things are just simply are not going away. Digressing here for a moment, Gunners of America did end up getting a victory in court this month over the ATF and their bump stop gun ban. The ATF tried to postpone it and stuff, but the courts wouldn't let them do it. And as you can tell, I actually been keeping up with this stuff, because it seems like they're doing everything that they can in order to criminalize and demonize the Americans. Have you ever actually flown in the airport lately? I mean, where are the terrorists? Are the terrorists being searched, tagged, surveillance, molested, scanned in these airports, anything else, or are we keeping the people safe? I tell you, I said a long, long time ago that when this Patriot Act started, it's an act against patriots, and hey, my words have reigned true. I realize that I'm rambling on here a little bit, but what I am doing is actually bringing things to the forefront of your mind you should consider. Let me ask you a question. How much food do you have stored? And do you have the ability to protect yourself? Let's say an EMP happens, or some type of false flag takes place in a city or town near you, and they declare martial law. Are you going to be able to protect yourself? Are you? Can you protect yourself? Because when mob rules, it's bad. What is the real true solution, though? Well, the real true solution is to get away from all these people who you think and consider as very benevolent and very civilized. Because I'm going to tell you right now, when people can no longer eat the laws that are so-called helping the people to be so-called civilized, human nature and human beings can become very uncivilized and very selfish at a drop of a heartbeat. And of course, some of you are just simply not people. You just simply can't get along with people. Nobody wants you around, and they don't want you around. And then everything that you call family, that's some of the greatest wars that actually ensue and takes place. If you want to see the real true colors of family, talk about politics or religion and see how quick. I said it this past Sabbath. I said, bring up something that has to do with the Bible, or bring up something that has to do with religion, and keep a bag of popcorn in your back pocket, go pop it, and then watch this show that is getting ready to ensue right in front of you. It is utterly remarkable and amazing. The solution is get as far away from human beings who are not joined in the same mind and the same spirit as you are. Get with those who actually can see the writing, the proverbial writing on the wall. Get with those who can comprehend. Get with those who really truly understand what the hell is going on, and prepare yourself and learn how to become mutually assistant with people that are joined in the same mind, because you cannot do it by yourself. You cannot defend your own homestead by yourself. You're going to need faithful people who you can depend on. Anyway, I said, I hope I've said something to stimulate thought. I want you truly all to consider what I've said, and I want you all to have a wonderful day. All right? I'm going back over to Pateron and talk to my people over there.